Hello, photographers. My name is Kelsey with Honeybee Weddings, and I want to thank you so much for popping in to my mini mastermind class about how to spice up your SEO. It's a blog template that will help you breeze through how to get on the first page of Google. I use this form on the daily whenever I write my posts, and I'm happy to say that 70% of our inquiries come in from Google. So a little bit about me and Honeybee Weddings. We are an adventure elopement photo and video team based out of Montana, but we travel worldwide for elopements. And I've even used this template to get booked in locations that I've never even been. And you can too. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to talk about a little bit is, what is SEO? If you hear the word SEO and you get immediate shivers, let me break it down for you a little bit. It's not as scary as it seems, I promise. SEO is an acronym that stands for Search Engine Optimization. And basically what's happening there is the strategy that makes it so that Google can recognize and produce searches for your content. So the perfect world of what we're trying to do is know what algorithms that Google's working with in order to create a post that can be found online. And since Google is the number one search engine in the world, it holds 92% of all searches. So, no doubts here. We need to be looking into Google. And something that I really like about blogging, and I know it takes a lot more time and it really is more intensive and knowledge-based than Instagram, but what I really like about Google is that if you create stunning content that's helpful to your couples, you're able to have this evergreen post that people can keep coming to over and over and over again, right? You don't have to worry about posting blogs 3 times a week, because if you even make 12 blogs, if you make one blog a month that is massive and helpful and that Google's like, oh girl, I see you, then you're in a good place. And you cannot spend all your time worrying so much about Instagram. So let's dive into the first step, which is topics. Yeah, it could be overwhelming, but I'm here to guide you through. So let's talk about topics. Okay, so when we are thinking about blog posts that are going to be really impactful to Google and that Google will serve up to the couples and clients that are looking for you, the first thing we want to know is, what are the problems that your clients are having that they're looking for resources for in the first place? Let me say this again. The main purpose of a blog post that's going to come up on Google is to solve your client's problem. It sounds really simple, right? Because it kind of is. So the first step in any really great blog post is to think about, what are the problems that you can solve? And trust me, you can solve them, even if you think you're new. What are these problems that you can solve that your clients have? So some of these examples, so as a wedding and elopement photographer, people are getting married, right? Their first step is they need a place to have this wedding or elopement. So they're probably searching for location. Location searching in Google is one of the biggest tools that you can maximize on when you're writing your post. So for example, if you're a wedding photographer in Chicago, you might write a blog about the best wedding venues in Chicago. Or if you're an elopement photographer, you might be writing a blog about how to elope in Glacier National Park. If you're a portrait photographer or a family photographer, you might be writing about the best portrait locations in Austin, Texas, or how to prepare for my family photography session. Any of these ideas are things that your clients and couples are probably searching for and just yearning for this information, and you are the one to serve it to them on the silver platter. And it's as easy as just figuring out what their problems are. Step number 1 is to definitely write down the problems that your couples have. From there, we're able to make really helpful content, and I'll show you how. Okay, so now that we brainstormed a few ideas about what our clients and couples' problems are and how we can solve them, the next step is to integrate that into a blog title. The title is the number one most searched, optimized function and part of the blog itself. So it needs to be good. But let's not overcomplicate things, because honestly, if we make really complicated titles, Google isn't going to understand what this is about. And we need to remember that anything that the title is needs to be searchable on Google. So when you yourself are searching on Google, you're probably searching things like Chicago wedding venues, or how to prepare for a family session, or how do I get the best headshots. Some of these titles are the exact title that you're going to want to put for your blog. You don't need to make it super complicated. You just need to make it searchable. The other part of like making it fun and fancy and clickable, that's part in the metadata description that we're also going to be talking about here. So again, it doesn't have to be very, complicated, and you're probably right. Like you can add like descriptions, like the ultimate guide or the best guide, or updated in 2022, or, for the adventurers out there, ... insert your title here. Once you come up with your title, it needs to be about 4 to 5 words, and that is going to be your key phrase. So that's the thing that we're going to be writing down and sprinkling throughout our blog and referencing back again and again and again. So we have figured out what our problems are of our couples and clients. 2, we have decided what topic we're going to write our blog post about. And then number 3, we've come up with our key phrase, which is going to be also the title of the blog. So what's next? The next step here is to work through the template that I've created. And the best way to do this, I'm going to tell you how to do it here, but the best way to do it would be to download the free template by subscribing. So we can talk about that later, but this is the best way to go. So say I decide to go after Chicago wedding venues, and I want to make a comprehensive, amazing guide about Chicago weddings and where to get married there. So first I want to type in my key phrase. So I want to say the best Chicago wedding venues. When I search, here it is up on Google. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is search out our competitors. Any good site is going to be on one of the first pages of Google, and these are the things that we're going to want to look at to see how we can make our blog and our guide even more helpful to our couples. Don't worry if there's already a lot of blogs on your topic. You can stand out, and I'm going to show you how. So when we look at our places, so here's a link that's Chicago Curbed. 26 beautiful places to get married in Chicago. Fantastic. Here's one from Wedding Rule. Chicago's top 40 gorgeous wedding venues. The list goes on. So we're going to find some that are from photographers, or even some of these that aren't photographers, that are really great and something that we're going to want to do for our couples. So when we look here, this one has a map, which I think is super helpful and people really love to see it. Google loves to see it too. And it has this kind of, it has photos. It has a little description, the website, phone number, and just about like how many guests things have. Great to know. We're going to move on to the next one. Here's even more. So once we've gotten our competition, we're going to fill that out and then look through it. How can your blog be better than everyone else's? The second thing we're going to look for is the research part, because if Google sees that you are linking really reputable sites like Wikipedia, or maybe there's a Chicago visitor center, like things like that aren't necessarily wedding related or per your topic related, but they're really reputable sites. National park sites is really great for this as well. So if I just type in Chicago, so here's the news, which is fine, but here, the city of Chicago, this is a great one to look through and link in your blog. Chicago Wikipedia, this is also something that we're going to want to pull from and link back to here. The third thing that we're going to want to do is find the intent. So what is an intent? An intent is something that people are trying to find in Google. It's the problem that they're trying to get solved. It's the answers that they're looking for. The holy grail of the Indiana Jones saga. So this is what we're doing here. And we want to tell Google that we're not only looking for our main key phrase, but we're going to help our people out with all these other things that they're looking for as well. So when I put in best Chicago wedding venues, there's all these other intents that are popping up that like people also search for. And so pick 3 of them or 4 of them and be able to have it as a heading, as a subheading in your blog. So these are also topics that you're going to want to put in there. It's super helpful. I mean, and look, like we didn't know that people were looking for wedding venues with a view. We didn't know that people were looking for wedding venues on a budget, but now we do. And so now that we know that, we can write about it. We can do our own research through our own experiences about wedding venues and put that in our blog. It's so incredibly powerful. Our next step is to find some common phrases. So when we use common phrases that Google also picks up as common phrases, it solidifies to Google that our blog post is even more credible and it has even more great helpful information that Google knows people are looking for. So how we find that, we type in our key phrase. So our key phrase are the best Chicago wedding venues. And then we go over into the images tab. So when you see up here, these are our common themes and common phrases. So this is the sort of thing that we're going to want to kind of sprinkle into our blog post. So be sure to write them down so we can be using them throughout the post. The next part that we're going to want to add in and do some research on is the expected places. So the whole idea, broken record here, right? We want to include things in our post that Google is like, aha, I know that this thing is credible and I know it's well researched because these are the exact terms and the exact places and the exact words that we are picking up on all the time. So to look for expected places, you keep your key phrase in the search box and then you go into maps. So when we look at things on the Google map, we're looking for businesses and entities in Chicago that are coming up as one of the most searched things. So look, Stan Mansion is already on there. The Crystal Gardens is on there. These are just 2 of the things that we're going to want to put in our blog. The Chicago Illuminating Company, the Ivy Room at Tree Studios. So I pick 3 or 4 of these expected places and I be sure to feature them and link to their websites so that Google knows, hey, we know that this is legit and we know this is what's coming up on Google. Hey, Google, check me out. So that's super helpful. Whew, that seems like a lot, but it is so helpful, so helpful. And having this template for you to just breeze through how to make a blog that is an authority on your topic is absolutely priceless. This is how I am able to book wild elopements all over the world when I haven't even been to a location. This is how I'm able to get booked 70% of my bookings from Google. And this is how I can run a multiple 6-figure business with Google as my main source of income. So let's dive into the next steps. So after we've created our topic, after we found our key phrase, we've done research on our competition, we've done research on, really authoritative websites that we can include, we found the intents of what people are looking for, we found the expected places, and now we need to work on our title and our metadata. So again, our title is the key phrase that we've already found. So that's the easy part. And that's going to be the first thing that's on your list on Google. The next thing we need to do is the metadata description. So the metadata description is that little box right below your blog post on Google that will tell people why yours is different than anyone else's. So we want to use our key phrase in our metadata description. It needs to be a max of 150 characters, and we need to tell people why ours is the best, most epic, most comprehensive, most thorough, reason why they should click. I use intents here a lot as well. So I might say the most comprehensive Chicago wedding venue guide for those who need accommodation help or something, right? So it's not only about the venue, but you're also adding value as to what else is in your blog, what other meat is in your blog. If you want an editable, step-by-step template of everything I just covered, and I know it was a lot, you'll definitely want to sign up for my free editable SEO blogging template by subscribing. It's super helpful, and I know that it will up your game. It'll get you noticed by Google.